Let's start by you telling us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Deanna. I'm 24 years old and a student at Wayland Baptist University. I'm a senior now. I'm originally from North Carolina, Fayetteville. Both my parents were in the military, so I moved around a lot. Ended up we ended up moving to Austin around my sophomore year in high school. Stayed there for a little bit, then ended up being.
When did you start wrestling? What inspired you to start wrestling?
I started wrestling in high school. My freshman year in high school. My parents didn't want me to join it. My dad was like, most definitely not, because at that time I would have to be wrestling boys and there was only one other girl on the team. So my father, with me being the oldest and me being his girl, he was like, definitely not.
Yeah, gotta protect her.
And then it didn't help that I ended up joining football down the line. So
That's awesome.
I just was like, I could do wrestling, but they just didn't want me to do it. So first, I was really introduced to wrestling in North Carolina. My friend, he joined the wrestling team, and best friend Donovan, he joined the wrestling team, and he was like, you should join, you should join. And I was like, yeah, most definitely. And he just said, you know what, you should join a wrestling team. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, just come to practice. We always practice here. So I was like, all right. I went and I fell in love with it.
That's
and it's
so
funny
awesome.
because the guy who introduced me to it, he wasn't even on the team.
Oh my God.
I was like, well, how are you going to invite me to this sport and then not be here?
Yeah. I don't think people realize just how much wrestlers really like work and train, and
it's crazy. You have to be crazy to beat yourself up on a daily basis. Because that's really what wrestling is. You constantly tearing your body up, building it back up, tearing it back up, come back from injuries. It's a hard sport, harder than people I think they realize. So for me, yes, I definitely think I'm passionate about it. I love it, and it's a vital thing in my life. You know, if I wasn't passionate about wrestling, if I didn't love the sport and what it does for me, I wouldn't still be in it. There's no way I would still be paying all this money to go to a certain school, to keep wrestling, because I did have opportunities to go to Prairie View and be a part of their dance team. I had opportunities to go a lot of other ways, New York, and be a part of their acting program and their filmmaking program up there. Because in high school, I was into a lot of things, but for me to kind of limit myself, because before in 2014, when I was graduating, there wasn't really a lot of women's programs, there's way more now, so, and if you wanted to go to a women's program, you had to go like really far, and you was just really limited. So with Wayland being so close, I decided to stay here. And like I said, if I wasn't passionate about the sport, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't have made the choices I made in life now.
I know you also participate in Wayland's dance team, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So how do you balance your time with tackling work, 2 jobs, motherhood, and then wrestling and dance? Like, you're a phenomenal woman.
Thank you. It's not easy. Like, it's definitely not easy.
It's
not. People tell me like all the time, you make it look easy. And I'm like, well, trust me, it's not. I do sacrifice a lot, whether that's sleep, whether it's time with my daughter, or whether it's I might do an assignment real late, have to get up early to do it the next morning, but for me, the way I balance it is just honestly communication and sticking to a plan. If I did not have a plan to go off of, then it would be very chaotic for me.
Yeah.
And then communicating between my coaches, between my bosses, and also between my professors has really helped me get through the years of college and maintaining so much.
Recently placed 4th at the 2021 NAIA for
Yes,
women's
ma'am.
wrestling at 130 pounds. So how do you feel about that?
Honestly, I'm very grateful. I thank God for opportunity, and for me even again opportunity to place there, because I have All-American before at other events, but this is my first time All-American at NAI. But I definitely do strongly believe that I could have done better, and I could have been, if not first, I could have placed second. And it's not an excuse, but I do have 2 torn ligaments in my shoulder. I got that injury way in the beginning of season, and they wanted me to get surgery, but I was just like, I don't want to give up this opportunity, since it was a free year, and with it being my last year, I can technically get 2 years out of it, So I was like, no, I want to wrestle. And I didn't get that much, not like I said, not making excuses, but I didn't get that much mat time. When season started, my father, he passed away from a motorcycle accident. So the first semester I left school. I had to leave. I had to be with my family. I had to leave wrestling behind. And I came back second semester, and I only got one tournament out of the second semester because I did injure myself, and they was trying to kind of really just do rehab and prepare myself for nationals. And because I heard it before senior, I think it was senior nationals, and again at first semester, I heard it then, and then from that point on, it just got worse. Then my father passed. I had to take time off. Came back when I started wrestling again. It was getting re-inflamed, and like I said, kept pushing surgery, but I'm like, no, I'm going to finish out this year. I don't want to, I don't want no excuses why I can't wrestle and I can't play, because I know I can, nothing against my competition, but I just was like, I know I can do it,
Yeah, for sure.
So, when I made it to the finals and I had my match against Bridget, I was feeling confident. I never wrestled her before, so I don't know her style, but I know she's very strong. She goes for blast doubles a lot. So I was prepared. I was prepared for that. I was ready for her in a healthy, competitive way, but I was ready for her, And when she did take that double and I was trying to save myself and I ended up landing on my shoulder kind of wrong, it really kind of destroyed the whole tournament for me at that point, because from that point on I was just in a lot of pain. And then next day, I mean, I'm pretty sure you know how it is when you get injured, then that next day is the worst. My body was feeling it, my shoulders were feeling it. I just was in so much pain. My coach Kyler, he kept asking me, do you want to pull out, and I'm like, no, I want to finish. I don't want to look back and be like, dang, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
I'd rather finish and be having my shoulder hanging off me.
Yeah.
At least I can say I tried. I really tried it, which is what I did. And it was very heartbroken when I got fourth for me, even though people are saying you did so well, the fact that you even came out here 900% and made it, it was really good. And like I said, I'm very grateful for that, but it's just knowing that I could have done better. It just was heart crushing for me.
I completely feel that. First of all, I'm so sorry for your loss. I know that especially losing a parent can be super tough. And, just with everything going on, it sounds like it was a very intense time for you. But, that you have that light inside of you that kept pushing you. And, fourth or whatever place it is, you still placed. And that is fantastic. And I understand that in wrestling, a lot of it is, you versus you and always wanting to be the best. And we always, a lot of the times aim for something higher, and for whatever reason we don't meet it, but I have complete faith in you that you're going to kill it next time. And
absolutely, that's why I get to get my surgery now, so I should be like way better. And that's kind of like where I'm at now. Like I'm emotionally better. It took me some time, to get over, not to get over, but kind of accept it.
For sure.
And for what it was, and like I said, not making excuses, but the fact that I didn't get much mat time, I literally had only 2 tournaments the whole year, 2 tournaments the whole year to be able to prepare for this. And it just wasn't in my favor. But the fact that I went out and made it in my favor, I kind of was like, I can take that, I can accept that.
Yes.
Next year, I got big dreams.
Yes, we're going to be rooting for you. So some attributions from, Waldorf that you think Wayland doesn't have, or vice versa? Anything that motivated you more, or something that you were like, I wish we had this here?
Well, originally, I was recruited by Coach Cobb. When he was running the program, I got recruited by him my senior year. Excuse me. When I came to Wayland, Meister was taking over the program at the time. So Meister, he was really good. He knew his stuff. He was very involved. It was just me as a wrestler. I feel like I wasn't able to tap into something. I didn't know what it was, but I know I could have been better than what I was doing. When talking to the Waldorf coach, he was very motivated to make the Waldorf program bigger and better, because Waldorf is small, smaller than Plainview, and the team was still in a growing state. And at the time I did go to Waldorf, they just became a university at the time. So instead of a college. So it was making completely differences with money and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when I first went there, the team was small. It wasn't a lot of girls, but coach, like I said, he was very determined to make it bigger and better. And I was like, I think I can get behind that, you know, and with me having 2 years experience already and accomplishing what I already did in those 2 years, he was very determined to get me. So getting there, the girls were very fun. They was very loving. Coach was having so much dreams, aspirations as far as like wanting to do good, but it's hard when you don't have the girls to do it. Or even if you only have like a handful of girls, but most of the team is kind of just, hey, I'm here just to get a check or just to be here. You know, it's kind of hard to accomplish what we want to accomplish. But for me personally, coach, he was very attentive to like kind of the sensitive side of me, and he was able to explain certain things that Marster wasn't to me when I was wrestling, put different things into perspective, which made me a better wrestler. When I went to U23s with Coach Reese, like I ended up placing pretty high at that tournament, and I feel like I wrestled the best I've ever wrestled in years at that tournament. So he did contribute a lot to me, and then I feel like once I got that knowledge and what I needed from him, and then when I realized that, hey, as a program and as a wrestler personally, I can't really grow like I thought I would at this program. And me and him talked about it. He was very understanding, and he was like, you know what, you do only have 2 years left, a year left at this point. I understand, you know, so we was able to go our separate ways. And at that time, Meister was contacting me, and he was wanting me back on the team, thinking I'll be a very vital asset to the team for the 130s. And I was like, okay, well, if you're wanting me back, and if we can agree on certain things, in certain aspects of how you're going to train me and everything like that, then I would love to come back. So I ended up coming back. Definitely with a different mindset, definitely with different motivations, you know, like I feel like when I came back, I was ready for Wayland and for what college really can bring for me. You know, because there's also a lot of outside things that can happen that could distract you from wrestling and from school. So if you're not mentally tough enough and focused in what you want to do, then you can get very sidetracked. So I feel like when I came back, I was more motivated than ever, and I was more focused than ever. So
that's awesome. Yeah, no, everything has aligned for you perfectly. And, you know, I definitely do understand that aspect of, you know, you wanting to grow with that team, but, you know, maybe them not having the resources for you to like keep growing the way that you want to. But it's really cool that, you know, your coaches kept up with you and, you know, checked up on you and still were a source of inspiration and motivation for you. I think coaches are such a big support for wrestlers. They really do make or break wrestlers sometimes.
Yeah, and I feel like it's hard because a lot of programs really don't have that, or a lot of teammates don't have that. You know, a lot of coaches can just be very kind of mean and kind of straightforward, or they don't even know how to handle women wrestlers. You know, because when I first came to Wayland, I didn't know it was freestyle. I definitely was still doing folk style on the mat, and it wasn't until someone was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm wrestling. What do you mean what I'm doing? So it was definitely a change. And, you know, like I said, I feel like Coach Reese nurtured that emotional side of me that I needed in a coach. And when I was able to get tougher and got, you know, mat-wise what I needed from him, I was able to be ready to go back to Wayland. And especially because with Waldorf, I definitely feel like they didn't support the wrestling team as much. And it's really hard to grow a program if you don't have the support of the university. It's very hard. If they're kind of just treating you as like a club, or like, okay, you're here, just do what you gotta do. It's very hard. Reese is really phenomenal. He's trying to do really big things, but I think he's just not in a good position to do it because where he's at, you know.
With women's wrestling being such a fast growing sport, what is something that you would like to see for women's wrestling in the next 3 to 5 years?
I personally would like to see, well, at this point, I would love to see like more D1, D2 schools getting women wrestlings, because I feel like we are earning of that, just like the men.
Very much so.
You know, so I would definitely love to see that. And I would love to see more women coaches in head positions, you know, not just assistants or grad assistants. I do believe we are more just as much. That's what I'm
Just as
looking for. Just as
capable
much.
as male
Yeah, it's capable.
counterparts,
Thank
for
you. It's
sure.
capable as the men to run a program, and I do feel like having that woman touch would just kind of better the atmosphere of wrestlers, Realized kind of leaving high school was that the coaches really didn't really enough attention to the women's
Sure. It's like if all of
team.
the hyper focus is on the men and we kind of
Yes,
keep them
and
there for sure.
granted, even though it was only a handful of girls, we really wasn't given the same kind of respect. And it was very discouraging because it's like you're telling me, oh, you don't really care about us. You're just kind of let us be here because you have to let us be here. So that was at first that was really kind of discouraging, and it wasn't until I started doing good and was like, oh, she's a really good wrestler, I started getting more attention. But I'm a firm believer in, like, I shouldn't have to show you how good I am for you to give me that type of respect. I
Yeah.
should, if I'm here doing what I'm doing, busting my butt every day, just like the men are, and sometimes better than the men as far as lifting and if I'm beating them in miles and stuff like that, I should already get that same respect. I shouldn't have to get a medal around my neck for you to give me that respect. But in that time and with it growing, that's what I had to do, so that's what I did.
No, I feel
So
that.
yeah, so I probably have to say that's the only thing I realized, and I didn't realize that until, like I said, growing up and looking back on my experience. I'm like, wow, I kind of really wasn't treated equally. But
Yeah.
me being new to the sport, I didn't realize it. I just was like, oh, it's normal,
No, I
and
completely get that for sure.
but I can't speak for all wrestlers because some women are different,
Yeah.
That's something I do want to see more head coaches and women wrestling being in D1, D2 divisions and everything like that.
For sure. Yeah, no, we're definitely hoping for that as soon as possible too. I definitely think that there needs to be more recognition for women's wrestling. What would you say is your ultimate goal, whether it's, within or outside of sports?
Oh, my ultimate goal would definitely be a head coach of a D1
Yeah.
of a D1 team. That is the
Yeah.
dream. I mean, I'm already putting things into place for me to be a coach. I'm talking to my coaches here to possibly get opportunities to learn. I'm looking into opportunities to do that. So that definitely is in the
That's
process.
super
And
cool.
I don't want the same thing to happen to other girls that happened to me. I don't want to be limited. I turned down big opportunities because of wrestling, and I don't want other people to have to do that. So I would love to starting programs at Spelman, at Prairie View, so that girls like me do not have to be limited, that they do have the opportunity. So
Yes, I so am behind that. That is an amazing dream. And I think, once again, you will accomplish it. You're very determined. Really excited to see what you come up with, in
Thank
the
you.
future
Thank
when you're
you.
coaching.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And is there any like established female wrestlers that you look up to, or male wrestlers that you're like, wow, they're amazing. Their style is super cool.
Yes, there is actually. Yes, Victoria. The fact of how, first of all, how small she is and how mighty she is, it's amazing. I love it. And how smooth, how she transitions her wrestling is just so beautiful. Like she started doing like little videos of her showing some of her technique, and I definitely be like saving them and watching them. Like, because I'm like so intrigued to how she does it. And even no matter if you're short or tall, if you're her opponent, if you're short or tall, she still is able to hit the same moves that she would on anyone else. And like, it's that consistency that I love about her. And I'm like, she doesn't back down from no one. Like, cause me, I'm like, all right, like with Bridget, when I was wrestling Bridget, I'm like, all right, she's kind of top heavy. I'm not really gonna tie up. I'm gonna make sure I pass to her. I'm gonna make sure I stay outside with her, which I was trying. So, but with Victoria, it's like you could be top heavy, bottom heavy, tall, short. I'm still gonna hit the same moves on you. So I admire that about her, and I definitely, that's something I do want to kind of grow in my wrestling, being able to be consistent with my wrestling like that. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Victoria.
How would you say wrestling has helped you improve as a person and in your day-to-day life?
I would definitely say wrestling has helped me be more accountable for myself and for what I do, because anything that happens on my mat is because of you. and what you was able to or not able to do. So being accountable for yourself, okay, hey, if I probably would have done this lift or been more cautious by my weight, I would have been so tired, and I would probably been able to perform better in this tournament or in this match. It's really having that accountability is what wrestle helped me with. And like it helped me be really organized in my life.
That's really awesome. Well, this was our first American Wrestler Women Wednesday interview with Deanna Prince from Wayland University. Awesome gal. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us for this interview. I cannot wait to see you, go forth and kill it. You're gonna do amazing things.
Thank you for asking me to do the interview. I'm very honored, so blessed. Like, I really appreciate this opportunity, and definitely feel free to ask me for any more interviews in the future, but I get a little bit bigger.
Yes, we will. Awesome. Well, thank you so much once again, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Say bye-bye. Mwah.
Aww,